Welcome to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam.
So coming up next is a topic about crypto payments, adoption, and privacy. Now, crypto payments and stablecoins has been a very exciting topic, I guess, that's come up. So I'm really looking forward to this. So I'm going to introduce Tyler onto the stage, and then we're just going to go from there. Please give a round of applause to Tyler. Good luck. Go for it. Go for it. Just introduce your panelists.
Oh, all right. I was gonna have them introduce themselves, as they can do a better job.
We'll invite them onto the stage.
Okay, well, let's invite everyone on the stage, please, guys. Good to see you. Hey, Joel, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah.
Way to make it awkward for poor Tyler.
No. We're at a privacy conference. There's no such thing as being awkward here. So yeah, I guess to start off, obviously payments is one of the biggest topics, and then kind of its subsidiary topics. Let's just start with real quick backgrounds on you guys. Kind of why you're here, how you got into crypto, why payments, what you're working on, in a quick little soundbite.
Yeah, I guess I'll start. We'll go this way. My name is Joel, and I run business development and marketing for Dash, which is a cryptocurrency focused on being the best payments and money system in the world. Personally, I was always a sound money advocate and kind of was trying to see how I could use gold and silver as my money, and it's apparently not very easy. That's kind of how I got into Bitcoin around 2013. 2015, I started only earning crypto because I didn't want anything to do with fiat. 2016, I closed my bank account, so I've been living off of crypto almost 10 years now. So clearly, I kind of had to get into, I was never into payments before that, but it was just, you have to figure it out to not use fiat currency. So it's kind of like, here I am because I kind of had to be.
Amazing. Great intro. My name is Rick Thomas. I'm here on behalf of Unramper, and we're actually a company from Amsterdam, so quite close to home. My background is a long time ago, a lot of e-commerce, Web2 software. I've been in crypto since 2016, but I haven't been living off of crypto fully.
We'll get you.
I should. Thank you. Let's chat. At OnRamp, we provide an on-ramp infrastructure to wallets, exchanges, dApps, you name it, where we basically aggregate currently 28 different on- and off-ramps, providing a single infrastructure that any of these parties can integrate to easily allow their end users to buy crypto using fiat and a large variety of different payment methods.
Thank you, guys. I'm Guy. I'm co-founder of Bleep. Just a bit of background. I studied engineering, and I did a master thesis on blockchain applied to logistics, which I'm not sure blockchain is really being applied to logistics today, like successfully at least. So that was kind of a flop. But it really got me, this was like 8 or 9 years ago, it really got me into thinking about the technology and all the applications. I've always worked at startups, and before starting Bleep, I worked at Revolut. Some of you probably know it. It's a big fintech, and it solves a lot of problems, and I've always been a user of Revolut, but there were a bunch of things that I thought, holy shit, oh, sorry, I don't know if we can swear on this thing, but blockchain would solve this so much more efficiently, especially when it comes to remittances or just going from one place to another place, financially speaking, and not being tied to one provider, let's say. You can just take everything you have and just go somewhere else. So a friend of mine who was also at Revolut at the time we thought, let's just build Revolut on chain and basically provide a much better service, a 10x service in terms of financial benefits. So that's what we did with Bleep. You can just use it as a regular day-to-day bank account, but it's not a bank. It's your money. Everything is under your control. Nobody can steal it from you, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's basically me.
Fantastic. So starting off is one of sort of my favorite questions and things that I've been working on is you look at payment systems right now, digital payment systems, you have like WeChat Pay, Paytm, right, where they just have an app, it connects to their bank account or there's their bank account. You can pay, use it anywhere. You know, people out in rural areas can just pay with the QR code. It just works. No one thinks about the technology, anything else like that. Probably have like 3 to 4 billion users at this point. I mean, it is the de facto, you know, it's maybe outside of what we see every day, but that's it, right? Can crypto do this? Can we achieve that standard of payment, whether it's just like cash, for instance, or these very intuitive, extremely simple, bare bones payment systems that everyone uses with no friction, the speed, the cost, everything? Can we do this in crypto? Like, is that an aspiration we can have? What are your thoughts on that? And then especially as it might pertain to the privacy angle also.
So I would say definitely, like not just, yeah, probably, but definitely. These kinds of, I guess, legacy payment rails, it's just tech. It's just ways of transmitting data back and forth of who sends what to what. And they're constrained by all kinds of, you know, centralized structures, blockages, legal things, KYC, all kinds of different things. And they're efficient despite these things. I think that we can be efficient without having those barriers. Obviously, if we just use, you know, neutral data networks, neutral networks, cryptocurrencies that anyone can use without permission, obviously, I think things would get a lot kind of better. But I think that like everything, we need to keep working at it for a while. And I do kind of feel like with the payment space, a lot of people did sort of say, oh, Bitcoin's great for payments, oh, then it's maybe not, and then got distracted doing other things for a while. But I think that if we really hammer down on making these networks work and hammer down on like what are these, like what do people do when they send a WeChat? Oh, there has to be like a username. Well, how do we put that data on the blockchain? How do we do that in a private way? If we actually approach these problems and solve them as a real way, like this has to be something that works, and we actually make sure the underlying blockchains work and stop saying, well, you know, 40-second block time is fine, or, you know, if they have to get rid of those excuses and start trying to like actually make the underlying tech better, then I think that building an interface like that on top of this should be, I wouldn't say easy, but very doable.
Awesome. Thanks. I can add to that more from the perspective of where users in Web 2 are today. We handle with a lot of fiat, which I think technically is still a problem because these are all licensed money businesses. So KYC, AML, and we'll probably touch on those topics later on, are still very much a thing. But once on-chain, which is I think where everyone should be, things are getting better. And all the parties that we speak to, whether it's B2B, whether it's B2C, from remittances to business payments, we see stablecoins on the rise. And there you can actually see that settlement times, fees, etc., are starting to compete with TradFi, which I think is a really, really good development. And so far, at least at OnRamper, we have not really dealt with remittances, because getting money on-chain, getting money off-chain, I don't know whether you guys all know on and off-ramps, but they earn quite a bit of money. It is quite expensive. Nowadays, you see Revolut, you see companies like Bleep, you see other companies like Bridge, Iron, that provide stablecoin infrastructure that makes it a lot faster and cheaper to move money cross-border. So yeah, I definitely think that there is a lot of opportunities there.
Let me go to what you said. It's like with Paytm or whatever. People are not thinking about the technology. They're just, oh, this works, so I'll just point my camera at it and it'll work. And the problem with like these big centralized players is that you have to be part of their ecosystem. Like, for example, Revolut, you have to, like, for you to be able to send money for free instantly, you have to be part of Revolut, and you have to be part of Paytm or whatever to be able to send money for free between your friends. Like, they both have to have a Paytm account. And with blockchain, you don't have to have the same account because the blockchain is just the infrastructure, and then you can have an account with Bleep, and then you can have an account with MetaMask or whatever, and you can still just transfer instantly, virtually for free. So you're not locking customers into an ecosystem because think about it like, probably you've heard this a million times, but think about it as the internet. Nobody is thinking about like when they buy an internet subscription, they're not thinking like, oh, is this using like IP or is this using like TCP or whatever? They're thinking, oh, I just need to buy like a subscription to the internet service. And then the internet is just the underlying infrastructure that's allowing all the data to go back and forth. So there are some advantages to centralized like infrastructure, just a little bit faster, like you don't need all of this trustless validation and all of that stuff, but you lose all the composability that a global underlying infrastructure gives you. And you lose the freedom to go where a new protocol is or a new service is because you're locked into that like provider. So cost, like we've already seen transactions per second, like on chains like Solana, like cost, like that's all been solved for the most case, in my opinion. So now it's just a matter of like, in my opinion, for getting seed phrases, for getting all that complex UX. Again, nobody knows what an HTTP packet is, but everybody uses it every day, right? So we just have to make all of that infrastructure like agnostic to the user or like abstracted to the user. And then we're there. Then it works like Paytm, where you just point at a QR code and it works.
Yeah, with some of the features, I guess, that have been developed, progress we've been making, can you guys give some examples of some privacy-preserving payment methods now that people are literally using in the real world? Even if it's more minimal, we're not looking at massive adoption yet. I know there's been some, but are there some, these glimmers of hope that we can all kind of look or maybe use? Maybe we've used them before. Can you mention some that you see literally in real life now, actually getting used?
How real are we talking real life? Like
coffee in Starbucks.
People here?
It could be anything. It could be B2B payments. It could be buying a subscription online. It could be buying a house. It could be going and buying coffee at the neighborhood shop. Literally a transaction, crypto, ideally a privacy-preserving crypto for an exchange of value of some kind.
Yeah, so first of all, this has been, my own life for a long time, and I try to not to let that bias me and look around like, what are other people actually doing? But I definitely have noticed that privacy's back on it's kind of coming back in a big way generally. Like we see, for example, Apple advertising about privacy and stuff like that. And then I've been kind of a big fan of usability in crypto, and usernames are something that really still today are like maybe not the best from a privacy perspective, because typically like an ENS name or whatever just maps to an address and you can just see everyone's money and all their NFTs and everything and who you should rob and hit over the head and stuff. And it's a little nasty. But so there are a few different setups that make people be able to use this a lot more. Obviously Dash is one of these that doesn't expose the address, right? Like the whole stealth addressing type thing.
I don't want, can you give some examples how Dash is being used? I know of some, so I don't want to lead you too much into it, but could you talk maybe about some of that?
Yeah, so, I mean, for my own personal thing, that's kind of what I use for money. I use to pay bills, use to buy things, etc. Let me give you an interesting kind of example that intersects with a lot of things. I don't know if it's Milan here, but Milan's giving a talk on NanoGBT later. He has this very fun service that's basically a privacy-preserving front end for all kinds of LLMs. So if you want to use, you don't have to sign up for ChatGPT. You don't have to sign up for Midjourney. You don't have to do any of these. You just pay like as little as 10 cents worth of crypto, and he does accept Dash and Monero and some other things like that. Then you can just use, and obviously the prompts that end up there aren't really private at the end of the day, but no one knows who's sending these in. And so like as a real example, like I've noticed my wife using a lot of the free version of ChatGPT. I'm like, why don't you use NanoGPT? I'll send you some Dash to top it off. And then we've been kind of doing it that way. I've noticed that a lot of like privacy tools like that, whether it's VPNs, I'm big privacy nerd in a lot of ways. Like VoIP numbers that I pay for my phone. I don't even know my real phone number. Those all take crypto. There's one-time verification numbers for services that will let you rent a real phone number. They all take crypto as well. There's a lot of these kinds of things where like the entire privacy ecosystem, I feel like, is starting to run on crypto. And so I know, for example, there's a service called privacy.com that lets you generate like single-use card numbers for privacy and payment, but you have to link your bank account. But there's so many different crypto companies now that will do the same thing, but you pay in crypto. So like you want to buy like a $108 subscription online or whatever, you pay with crypto, get a one-time use card with no name on it, and you just kind of use it like that. So those are kind of the things that I'm in my particular orbit, but I'm very interested in seeing less weird people maybe, what they've kind of come across.
I don't have too much to add to that. And that's because on-ramping is very much regulated, obviously. I mean, I know Dash is supported by a few, but some of the other privacy-centric coins are actually not, due to whatever regulations. Most that we see is, apart from like Bitcoin, Ethereum, is on-ramping into stablecoins and moving from there. We are agnostic, so we would like to work with everything and obviously support it. We are not part of the flow of funds, so I don't touch fiat, I don't touch crypto. It's just an infrastructure. But on the agnostic side, is obviously also working with currently, I think, a bit over 160 different blockchains, including many zero-knowledge proof chains that will also add to privacy as much as possible. And the option that I did want to give is pre-funded debit cards with a lot of privacy in it, but you just took it from me, so I'll just pass it over to you.
Maybe this is not the purpose of the question, but I'll play devil's advocate and go on the other side. I don't have a lot of examples other than the ones Joel mentioned, like short or small payments online. We don't provide those because we are similarly to OnRamper. We are heavily regulated with MiCA here in Europe and all that stuff. Like we provide a bunch of no KYC services that are crypto native, but the moment you want to buy something that right now that privacy it's not gone because nobody knows that that address belongs to you, but the transaction is there on the blockchain. But I think the way that we should, like the future that I see is, yes, it's going to be regulated. Like there's nothing we can do. Governments will exist. Regulators will exist. Like they will want to know where $1 million went if they're stolen and stuff like that. But it should be a privacy by default where it's like your home. Like your home is private by default, but if you do something shady, even if you haven't done it, it just looks like you did, the police can go there with a search warrant and look at your stuff. It doesn't mean that everybody else in the world can go into your home and look at your stuff, but at least the police can do it and take their conclusions. It should be the same with your crypto. I don't think it can be fully private. It should be private by default. And then when regulators or auditors or police or governments or whatever need to find a criminal or whatever, they should be able to, get that information. And I know that like probably here at this conference specifically could turn a couple heads because people are like, no, but I haven't done anything wrong, so I want to remain private. But that's the future I see. And yeah, just the examples they gave were perfect.
I guess now, so at we started with some of these larger payment systems, and we gave a few of the examples that we currently have. What's holding it back then? Like, what are the pieces that are sort of, like, because you all gave answers that said almost like, this is inevitability, we can get there, this is going to come together, which I also believe, by the way, so I'm not countering that by any means. But we all have conviction that this is all happening, and like through the efficiencies of the technology, we see this all coming together, but yet there probably is nowhere near the traction we're looking for just yet. How has that changed? How has this target potentially changed, or what's sitting in front of us right now what is the biggest barrier to adoption, and what are some of the things we can do about it?
Yeah, this is like a 30-minute thing, but I'm going to try to get it to like 2-3 minutes. The first thing is people don't try to use crypto. So people in crypto don't try to use crypto for money. Because of this, the knowledge of what works and doesn't is like so bad because you have to like try something, bump up into it and be like, oh, this is this is the thing. Now I understand more. So number one, there's just the consumer demand really kind of fuels the rest of the space. So you need to know, you need to try, and then you will know. So that's number 0 or number 1, I don't know. The next thing is, along that lines, we have to start demanding blockchains work well. There are plenty that do, but there's also a lot of like, you know, for example, the Ethereum fragmented layer 2 roadmap or whatever, where now it's like, oh, I got the wrong US, it's the USDT, not the USDC, and it's on the wrong one, it's the wrong extension of this, and then, oh, they don't accept this, but I do, like, and then, oh, so it's our Arbitrum, I need to have Arbitrum for gas. No, ETH on Arbitrum is just, people, like this entire situation, and the fact that, I get that like people are trying their best, but the fact that there's a situation, people said, this is fine. It's like the meme with the burning thing. This is fine. Like, no, it's not fine. Just don't tolerate it for a single second, and then we can move on to things that like actually work. So those are the 2 big ones. I do think that the ability for, again, like I have a talk at 2 that's like a lot of the stuff, but a lot of the extra information around payments is just not associated with them. It's like I sent, you know, to an exchange, okay, 800 USDT ARB on whatever, and then what else? Like, what else do we know? What's this for? Well, you know, there's an invoice somewhere in an email. It's like, okay, well, why isn't it with the payment? Like, especially like if you get like a card decline, for example, like there's almost no information that comes with that. Just say, yeah, your money didn't work. And thankfully it happens very rarely, because otherwise people would be revolting. But we should be able to attach encrypted metadata along with crypto transactions that say like, this was for rent at this valuation at this time. So when you're looking through, you're like, oh, okay, I see what that's for. And then people actually kind of start to use that. Then the other problems of, you know, not adopted enough, the accounting problem, like, oh, the exchange rate of this, I got paid how much? Like all those things are like, a couple people can figure it out. It's not that hard. But the big things, you do need to start trying to use it so you encounter the problems. You need to stop using crap tech. Don't wait 20 minutes for a Bitcoin confirmation. I mean, hodl your Bitcoin, but spend other things. Like, stop messing around with it and stop lying about it. Stop lying that Lightning works. Like, come on, stop it. And then, yeah, you need to start figuring out those like data problems along with transactions. And then everything else is doable, I think.
All right. I'd like to touch on the consumer side as well as the business side. I think from a consumer perspective, abstracting away everything. I mean, I've been in this business for 3 years and my mom still doesn't know what we do. So it's just too difficult, hundreds of different
I saw a
things.
shirt around here today that says, my mom thinks I work for Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's probably the same thing. So just making it seamless and user-friendly, I think, is the way forward to bring more users on chain. And I think, again, apps like Bleep might help there, because you just need to make sure that users on board as smoothly as possible, as if they are just downloading Revolut, and make it good. I think zero knowledge and KYC is a big part of this. Even with where I am today, centralized exchanges KYC, and then you want to on-ramp, you have to KYC again. You want to use a different payment method and a different on-ramp, you have to KYC again. About a year, 2 years ago, we spoke to many like zero knowledge KYC providers. What they're doing is all like super cool. However, institutions, regulated entities cannot rely on this level of KYC. I would love to see that solved. And on the B2B side, institutional adoption might actually push that and help drive this, because once institutions start driving money on chain and using blockchains to move money from entity to entity, country to country, etc., they will also want privacy there from A to Z, because they don't want others to see their business transactions, of course. So yeah, I think B2B might actually help B2C solve a few of these things. But yeah, my main thing has and probably will still be for a long time abstracting away as much as possible for end users.
I obviously agree with both of you. Might disagree a bit with Joel, but like without trying to get political or anything.
Crypto political, it's even worse.
I think the two main problems are UX and cost, which is basically what we talked about. UX is seed phrases like, oh, I have to download this other app in order to pay for this other thing on this other app, or oh, I have to connect something, like what is this, like I just want to trade, or I just want to buy dog with hat, or whatever. All of that's UX. There's no reason for it to be complex. Like it's just whatever the customer wants to do, just make that the one click that the customer needs to do. When you can't do that, try to make it in as few clicks as possible. And the cost, like it's not free to run Facebook. It's not free to run Google. It's not free to run Instagram and all of those services, yet they're all free. Obviously, somebody spoke about this earlier. You're paying with your data. Doesn't matter, like you're paying with your data because they're an advertising company, but their business models, and especially like I think with crypto and DeFi, because it's so much more capital efficient, you don't need to make customers pay for gas or make them pay for like signing this thing or signing that thing, but just don't. Go get your money from elsewhere. Go get money from another capital efficient protocol where you can still give the customers good value for their money. Like, and I'm just thinking like all of these like liquid staking protocols, whatever. Like I think I saw Lido somewhere over there partnering. Or like yield stablecoins. A customer, like a retail customer, doesn't need to know all the intricacies of all of those protocols. They just need to know, oh shit, oh sorry, I cursed. You can make whatever 5% a year or 10% a year on your $1,000 US. That's great. And the service providing those 5 or 10% could be making just 1%, just taking a 1% fee. And then it covers for all the gas and all the complexities that those users would have to go through otherwise. So I think, I mean, we wouldn't have started Bleep if we didn't think it was solvable. So we are solving this, and companies like Dash and OnRamp are solving other parts of the problem as well. You were saying like, what's the blocker? I don't think there's any blocker right now, and I think we are proof of that. Like we're onboarding people that have no idea what crypto is because they can just use a card with 2% cashback. They can just trade. They can just do things, and some things will ask for KYC, some things won't. But it's always a journey where the customer clicks and oh next, oh selfie, next, oh okay, done. So there's no need for it to be complex.
So I guess, Joel, you're bearish ZK rollups on Bitcoin, huh?
Well, let's see how it looks. I think the premise is flawed where you have something that doesn't work super well that you're trying to make work over and over. Just do something different. Anyway.
I liked your comment about the crypto political, though. So why don't we go there real quick?
Absolutely.
So just to like at a high level, we've got various like let's say application within crypto, right? You have something like Dash, which without getting too deep in some of the technology is more sort of privacy at like a transactional sort of level. You have things like Zcash, which has a completely public part, and then privacy pools, right, that you can move between them. You have other projects. I saw Xano is here. They have a proof of stake privacy by default payment network and all the tokens there. So it's all private. And then you'd have Ethereum rollups of some kind, right? That can be privacy preserving, privacy by default, in their various applications. And then now the myriad of stablecoins that could exist, right? That could be really interesting for payments. And so you could have, to your point earlier around what chain you're on, what the abstraction looks like, how do you migrate between them, and all these complexities. Will all these things exist? Right? We've got all these different types of ways where we can transact or preserve privacy. Will they all exist? Should they all exist? Is there one of these, in your opinion, that's superior from like a philosophical level maybe than the others? One that maybe has the better technology? Kind of what are your, I mean, I know there's probably a little bit of bias here, which is completely fine. But like, yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Is like where this sort of goes? Is there room for more? What's sort of going to win? What's the philosophical angle that would win, that people will use?
Yeah, so I think, first of all, most things won't win, just the way the free market works, right?
Statistics.
But at the same time, the way the free market works is lots of people try. And I love seeing, like, as much as I complain about, you know, back in my day, we only had one stable coin. It was only on Ethereum. And as much as I complain about that stuff, we need that to be fighting amongst itself to, like, figure out what's the best option. And philosophically, right now, we're coming into a exciting but dangerous era, the era of the stablecoin, where everything is migrating to a stablecoin, and it's all centralized stablecoins, right? And that is something that will get the masses on board because people are used to just dollars, they're counting similar, whatever. People, I think, are sleeping on the sound money thing that got the Bitcoin revolution started, I think, where people want a non-inflationary money that, you know, can't be manipulated and censored. The original, like, private digital cash kind of vision that kind of made Bitcoin launch the whole space. And we're sort of sleeping on that still, and I think it's going to be back. Just like we're seeing a big privacy wave kind of interest in just, not in the public maybe, but in places like this, it's starting to really pick up. I think that the actual scarce sound money digital cash thing is going to be huge in, like, maybe not 5 years, because that's the time it'll take for the stablecoin revolution to come in, and then people start getting censored right and left, and then maybe another 5 years we're back to sound money.
So you would be more the base asset itself, privacy by default, everything having privacy preserving is sort of your, like, kind of what, I guess that's not exactly what Bitcoin is, but that's your thought of where it starts or evolves.
Where it hopefully ends up. I don't know if that's going to be, like, you know, 5, 10, 20 years, everyone's going to be using a private, decentralized sound money thing. I don't know how realistic that is, but I do know that that is going to be popular, and it will become more popular the more the kind of, like, proto-CBDC stablecoin kind of thing will start to get cracked down on, in my opinion.
I'll stick to abstraction. I think right now you see a lot popping up. Not everything will survive. A lot won't. But in the end, I think for any end user using this technology, it shouldn't really matter. I mean, right now, if you send money from A to B, you don't know that there's acquiring banks and issuing banks and all sorts of Visa, MasterCard rails, etc. under the hood. So it shouldn't really matter. Things will consolidate. Some might win, others might lose. I think, again, user experience is key here. Privacy by default, please. Will that be the end? I'm unsure. Let's hope so.
Nothing to add. I think they did a tremendous job. Tremendous answers.
Fantastic. I think that's all the time we have. Thank you guys so much for your thoughts on all of this, and thanks you guys for listening.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.